Welcome, everyone, to A Haunting in Stratton, penned by Ryland Mason, narrated by me, Brian Shepard. Episode 7, Wilhelmina. It's been 2 weeks since Ryan and Bear were in the cemetery conducting a paranormal investigation. It's also been rather active in the house all of a sudden, mostly at night and by a woman who has taken over the last bedroom, a room Ryan has yet to see. Elections would be happening within 3 months. So far, his boss, Governor Prescott, seems to be pulling ahead of his rival, Mayor John Longmont. He's been lucky to have an assistant who didn't mind that Ryan was working from home, as his house was now connected to the world via the internet. Besides his internet appointment, the electrician, and cleaning the house every day, Ryan has had no time for anything else. Trips back and forth between the house and the hardware store, as he was always needing more Murphy's oil and pledge for most of the furniture and wood paneling. Doors to the rooms within the house, railings and banisters, fireplace mantles, and the grandfather clocks in almost every room had to be dusted and wiped down. As Ryan cleaned each room, he would make a mental note of what items would be removed and stored in the attic. Certain furnishings and family effects would be the first to be stored. He felt bad as he ended up in the morning room. This is the room with the painting of Wilhelmina, dead center, along with various framed pictures of the family. One, however, stood out to him the most. Molly's after-death photo, which was placed into a beautiful silver decorative frame, was on the side table. Dust had blurred the photo just a bit, yet Ryan could plainly see Molly's white Easter dress, a pretty bow in her hair, sitting in a chair, eyes closed. He felt guilty after picking it up, as he wanted to add it to the rest and to be packed away. Star Trek Voyager began to play in his back pocket. Placing the picture with the rest in the pile, he turned to grab his phone and noticed that it had just said Mayor on the screen. Interesting. "Hello, this is Ryan," he answered. "Good afternoon, Ryan. Are you busy?" "Just doing a little cleaning." "Why? What's up?" "I got a call from Bradley, who says you might be interested in some information regarding Wilhelmina Barton. He said something about her ghost stuck in one of your bedrooms. I have no idea what nonsense he's talking about." "Yes, that would be great. There's no family left, so it's been difficult to piece things together. The library here can only tell me so much." "Perfect. Let's say this Sunday after church service. Jordan and I will stop over. I've been dying to see the inside of that house for a long time," Ryan said. Ryan turned and walked back over to the table. "Sounds good, Brian. I'll see you two then. I'll invite Bear over as well." Ryan trailed off as he noticed the picture of Molly set back where it had been on the table and not in the pile he placed it in. Both saying goodbye and hanging up, it was agreed the mayor of Stratton and his boyfriend, Dr. Jordan Prescott, would be visiting. With his mind now distracted with that, he proceeded out of the room, taking the boxes with him to take to the attic later. Leaving Molly's picture on the table felt right. Apparently, to Molly as well. Days flew by as he continued to clean and get the house ready for not only himself, as it was his home, but for his company, that would be here momentarily. There was no need for him to freak out, as he had cleaned pretty much 90% of the house and rooms. Ryan felt accomplished, as the house seemed to breathe new life, as everything was clean or had been cleaned. The air is not stale and full of dust. Curtains in every room were open and tied back, allowing the beautiful sunlight to touch everything in the house and to allow the view of the town that just sat down the hill. The mayor still had no choice but to be escorted by a deputy when he would want to move about town, which drove Brian mad, as he had a perfectly beautiful Mercedes just sitting in the driveway, not being used. Yet the bank still wanted his payment. Not fair. Ryan could see them pulling up the driveway. Bear had just pulled in as well. Good. Everyone is here. Wait. An extra person seems to be getting out of the back. Hello, everyone. I'm just going to stop there and thank everyone for listening. Don't forget, I write other stories. So if you search me on any podcast platform, Ryland Mason, all of them should pop up. And check those out as well. You can also find me on Facebook by going to facebook.com/author R. Mason. Oh, and a shout out to my Rhode Island listener. Also, next series, we're going to jump back to Jack Jameson. I'm getting a lot of requests. He is my archaeologist / adventurer. So him and his boyfriend Christopher are coming back. And I think that's going to be exciting, fun, and God only knows what I'm going to be doing. But so once I'm done with this, we'll be going back to Jack Jameson. So, all right, let's get back to a haunting in Stratton and see who has just shown up. Another Stratton resident that Duchess had warned him about. Father Stan. Nosy and sometimes long-winded. She reminded him to say he was a smoker if asked why he was not at church today. Ryan doesn't smoke, so that would not work. Maybe he will understand if he tells him about the ghosts in the house. Nah, best to keep that under his hat for now. Ryan, excited that there were people about to walk into his house, some who have not been in or seen it in a long time. This would be the perfect time for any of his many ghosties to act up, which is something he hoped would not happen. Yet, just in case, Ryan simply asked, out loud, "All right, guys, here we go. We have company, and I don't want any trouble. Please, everything goes smoothly," he prayed as he opened the door. "Good day to you, Mr. Green, and I must say the Lord has blessed us with a warm, sunny weather day. I see we missed you at church today," Father Stan said as he walked up to the door with the rest, eyes scanning the outside of the house. "Sorry, I'm not a smoker," Ryan said as he just realized what he said. "Oh, well, that is good to know, and I want to thank you for inviting me." Yes, let's not stand out here all day. Sorry, Ryan. I invited Father Stan here as he needs to have some sort of social life other than praying. Leaning into Ryan's ear. And he's nosy as hell. "Well, come on in, and we can take refreshments in the morning room," Ryan said as Bear joined him. Everyone seemed to be impressed by all the fascinating paintings that were on the walls. Different people, family members, and landscapes littered the hallway. Ryan was in his element as he was happy to show off his home and entertain in a beautiful setting. Everyone seated, it was Bear who offered to pour and serve while the conversation began. Bear was able to sit next to Ryan and then just listen. Ryan seemed to love the 20 questions that he was getting from not only Brian, yet Father Stan as well. Bear saw that this, here and now, is something Ryan enjoys. Conversation, showing pride when asked about his house, yet when it came to the ghosts in the house, the conversation took a turn. I find it hard to believe that a ghost would just open the door for you. I admit there are things I do not fully understand, but this I'm not sure of. I, for one, would not even bother with the spirits and just cast them out. That would fix your problem, Father Stan said, as he was about to take a sip of that nice, hot Earl Grey tea. It was dumped into his lap, soaking his lower region, causing him to jump to his feet. The cup was then ripped from his fingers and thrown across the room, where it was smashed against the back of the fireplace. The room became very cold. If Father Stan and the rest could see what Bear was seeing at that moment, they would be freaked out. More than what they were now. It was not Molly who did that, if you were thinking that, which is okay, because that is what Ryan was thinking. Wilhelmina Barton is the one who was not interested in Father Stan's opinions. Her ghostly figure hovered right in front of him, with red eyes that wanted to burn right through him if they could. She was screaming and yelling at him. Bear could hear this, but the rest could not. Oh dear, let me guess. Miss Wilhelmina Barton has arrived. No surprise, as this was her favorite room in the house. Isn't that right, Mina? Brian said, as if he knew she was in the room. Confused looks were on everyone's faces. What was happening here? Did she really come down from that bedroom? Many questions were going through Ryan's mind as he just sat there, looking at Bear to maybe get some answers. The room fell quiet. Bear watched as Wilhelmina's screaming and shouting stopped the instant Brian called her Mina. Does that mean something? I am correct, right, Bradley? Brian asked as he just crossed his legs and sipped his tea. What does he know? Yes, sir, Bear replied. At that point, everyone was now sitting back down. Jordan asked Father Stan if he was okay, as he grabbed him a towel to wipe himself off. Father Stan, I do hope you've learned your lesson, and if I was you, I would apologize. Of course, I am sorry if I have offended anyone, including those I may not see, he said into the air as if maybe she was floating above him, and not fixed on Brian. Puzzled look, trying to figure out what he was going to say next. I'm sorry, Mayor Shepherd, but you called her Mina. Why? Ryan asked, in a way that maybe would give Wilhelmina a chance to figure out a connection on her own. Mina is what her best friend and neighbor called her, my great-great-grandmother. They were two peas in a pod. Wilhelmina at that moment backed up, floating away from Brian and the rest to a corner of the room, listening with a sour look on her face. Oh, her and Mary were always together, plotting and scheming while their husbands were out working, having tea at each other's houses, each hosting lavish parties to keep them popular within the town. They were inseparable. Are you sure it's wise to talk about her like that, given what she's capable of? Father Stan asked as he seemed to be tensing up, nervous. Yeah, babe, I don't believe it's smart to take on a ghost, Jordan pointed out. Oh, I'm sure she has those hands wrapped around my neck, just like she did with Ben. Aren't I right, Mina? Brian said as he looked over to Bear to confirm. However, he would not need Bear to say anything, as Wilhelmina had heard enough. Bear could see and hear her rage as every piece of glass shattered. The window shutters slamming closed along with the drapes. Pictures, furniture, cups, and saucers went flying in every direction. Father Stan was the first to attempt to leave the room, which he failed, as she made sure no one was leaving. Alive, anyway. To make sure, shards of broken glass began to slash at Father Stan's hand as he tried to turn the doorknob. Blood could be seen dripping